Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Now we have a major update on the striker situation from Sami Bakpo from the Daily Mail and John Cross from the Mirror. They both confirmed that Sesko has now moved into the top target priority position at Arsenal, as Victor Gyökeres is seen as very expensive and Alexander Isak is also going to be unrealistic as a target. So Arsenal have decided to go for Sesko as their number one priority target as a centre forward, and we are going to be trying to sign that man. Now, of course, they're also saying that Arsenal have done some good groundwork on this still, and they're very confident that although there is competition, we are still leading that race and we are going to get him this summer. Talk to me about Ben Sesko. It doesn't look like Arsenal are now linked with other strikers. If you've noticed in the last 2-3 days, it's about Sesko. So Arsenal have finally, found their real centre forward target, and that is Ben Sesko. Are you satisfied with him? Are you convinced about him? And how does he compare to Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak in terms of you getting in a centre forward that can score goals, 20 plus goals or even 25 plus goals in a single campaign? Now we're also going to talk about the lack of superstars arriving at Arsenal this summer, because according to Sami Bakpo, Arsenal are looking to strengthen in different areas, which means that we are going to spend a couple of dollars across the shop, and that means that we are not getting a superstar. We're not getting a £100 million signing. We're not getting a big money signing. That is not happening. Of course, Arsenal have not done so many big money signings or so many big superstars, apart from Declan Rice. Maybe I would point to the rest of the other players that we brought in. You could say Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus were superstars, but superstars that do not exceed £50 million. So I don't think Arsenal are in the business of going out there splashing the cash on big superstars, 100 million, 200 million. I don't think that is our motto. I think our motto is still bringing in talent that has a lot of potential, develop those talents, and either sell them or groom them into a title winning team. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Guys, we are very close to 80,000. So on every single video, if you've not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. We are very close to 80,000, and by the end of this year, we should be at least at 90,000 subscribers. So let's get this video to 500 likes, and please hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 80,000 very soon. So let's start off with a big story on Benjamin Sesko, because Arsenal and Arsenal fans, we are waiting for that big striker to come in. And according to Sami Bakpo, Arsenal are being updated on the developments of a Leipzig's forward Benjamin Sesko's future, while Bruno Guimaraes and Douglas Luiz among the club's central midfield targets. Any moves for Guimaraes or Luiz could depend on Partey leaving Arsenal this summer. But I think the big story there when it comes to Sami Bakpo is that Arsenal are being updated and we're being given as much information as there is when it comes to the developments on Ben Sesko. John Cross has also published around the topic, and he has said Sesko has now moved from the third choice. Of course, he wasn't our first choice. Our first choice was, I think, Victor Gyökeres or Alexander Isak, and then second was, was maybe, Gyökeres, and then third was Ben Sesko. So according to John Cross, he's quickly moved from third choice, or even fourth choice, if you want to call it that, to number one. He's now the priority. He's now the player Arsenal are looking at, and they're like, this is a deal we can do. This is a striker we can actually bring in. So why is this? Why have we moved from Victor Gyökeres? Why have we moved from Isak? Why have we moved away from Victor Osimhen, like Fabrizio said in January? Arsenal are very intent on signing Victor Osimhen. Why have we moved from all these superstar signings to a Benjamin Sesko? Couple of reasons, and I want to explain why. Let's start off with the Kai Havertz reason, because that is a very big reason that has been spread out across the last few weeks. Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, The Athletic, and all these publications all saying the same thing, that Arsenal think having a player like Kai Havertz, who's actually scoring goals for you, in his first season, 20 goal contributions, in his first campaign, maybe he is the player that you want to stay with as number 9. Maybe Mikel Arteta is convinced about Kai Havertz leading the Arsenal project as centre forward. So if that is the case, if that is the reason the Arsenal are not going for a big centre forward, I think it's about sharing responsibility. Because when you bring in a Victor Osimhen, he's going to want to play 38 games in a campaign. If you bring in a player like Alexander Isak, you've got to utilize him for 38 games in a campaign because he's a top forward. And you already have a player who has committed to that position. So Kai Havertz has now influenced what Arsenal are going to do with the number 9 situation. Because with Ben Sesko, he's just 20. Like, imagine, 20. So he can be a backup for 2 years or even 3 years. And then 3 years later, he renews his deal at Arsenal and he becomes the big centre forward at Arsenal. So I don't think this is a bad decision. I think this is clearly well thought through. I think Mikel Arteta's decided to go for one more midfielder, commit Kai Havertz's future to the attack and the forward line, and then just bring in someone that can reliably back up Kai Havertz, that can reliably offer us something different in terms of what Kai Havertz offers us. Because with Kai, you don't have pace. With Benjamin Sesko, you have a lot of pace. With Kai, you do not have the poacher instinct, the number 9 instinct in Ben Sesko. In Ben Sesko, you get that. So I think that is one of the reasons. But then the other reason is how much money we want to spend across this summer and how many signings we are actually going to be doing. So I think this is one of those summers where you are going to see a minimum of 3 signings, incoming at Arsenal. I don't think we're going to see anything less than 3. So let's think about the midfield. We will get something done. The forward line, we will get something done. And defensively, I mean, in terms of a new goalkeeper, that is pretty much nailed on. But also in terms of a defender, that is also pretty much nailed on as well. So Arsenal going for 4 signings, and I think we are past the level of a 10 million signing, a 12 million signing. I think whoever comes in this summer is going to be is going to cost between 25 million euros and 50 to 60 million euros, right? So when you think about 4 players costing 50 million euros, that is 200 million. So that means that you're not going to have one dedicated budget for a superstar. And that's not going to happen, right? And I think that's why Ben Sesko makes a lot of sense. His release clause is 65 million euros, which is around 55 million pounds. Arsenal know you can do this deal before the end of June, and it's a done deal. All you've got to do is agree personal terms with the player. So I am not 100% convinced about Cesco. You know this, guys. I'm not 100% convinced about him, but I'm not against the deal. I don't think him being a priority, is a bad thing. I don't think him coming in is a bad thing. I just don't see him as your Victor Gyökeres. I don't see him as your Alexander Isak or Lautaro Martinez. I've done a video with Glenn. It should be coming out live today at exactly 8 p.m. We were talking about our dream signings, and I said, for me, you've got to go with a player like Lautaro Martinez. His positioning is class, his experience is class, and his pedigree and his numbers are absolutely, threatening, and they will freak you out. So, in the end, if Arsenal don't get Cesco, I think we are going to go for someone of a similar profile, right? But those are the reasons I could quickly think about why we have moved from Gyökeres Alexander Isak to Benjamin Cesco. Now, he is a priority. Arsenal are being kept, updated with whatever is happening in his camp because he's yet to make a decision. He has had 2 offers from Saudi Arabia that have been turned down. The player wants to stay in Europe. Arsenal want him and a couple of other Premier League teams. And that's why Sami Makbo says that there is a lot of competition, but Arsenal are very, very confident. They've done some groundwork when it comes to the player's entourage and, what we want to, to do with him. So the player knows what Arsenal plan is. And we also know what the player wants in terms of his career and also in terms of the future. So probably there is I would say there is mutual consent and there is mutual there is mutual respect for both projects. Arsenal respect the Benjamin Cesco project because I think he's one of the real centre forward projects on planet Earth right now. And Benjamin Cesco and his entourage respect the Arsenal project as well. It's one of the best projects on the planet, on planet Earth right now when it comes to football. So we wait to see what comes out of there. It's a very interesting situation that Cesco has quickly now become the number 1 target. It's very interesting that Arsenal will not even consider these other big money signings that we've been singing for almost 2 months it's going to be a 55 million pounds, signing in Benjamin Sesko. Now, Victor Gyökeres, I want to give us an update on him. He's picked up an injury in the knee. He's actually had a surgery in the knee, and I'm told that that injury was actually coming from the season, the previous season. So we might actually have him out for 5 to 6 weeks. Now, I think because we have the Euros, and and of course Gyökeres was not going to play in the Euros. By the time the Euros are over, he will still be available. He will be back available, and that injury will actually be, rectified. So he's had a knee injury, a knee surgery, and that should be clarified. I just wanted to bring it up, but I don't think it's very important now. I don't think it's any of our concern anyway, because Arsenal have decided to go for Ben Cesco. Arsenal have decided to sign Ben Cesco, and he's now the priority. So if Arsenal still wanted Gyökeres, would that have affected our move towards him? Maybe, right? Maybe, because you don't want to sign a player with knee problems. But if I was to compare Cesco and Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak, or maybe Ben Cesco and all the strikers that we've actually been linked with, and we're going to do a live video, comparing him to all these players, I would still say Victor Gyökeres and Lautaro Martinez for me stand out in terms of that center forward that you want. Alexander Isak stands out as one of the players that can play in different positions across the forward line. So when I think about Alexander Isak, I'm thinking left wing. I'm thinking right wing. I'm thinking about an electric forward. He's got absolutely insane dribbling skills, and he's such a beautifully gifted technical footballer. That is Alexander Isak. So in terms of centre forward, I would actually be comfortable with Cesco signing over Alexander Isak, because I think both of them, given the same number of chances, they will do the same finishing. But when it comes to real centre forward play, when it comes to, I don't know if you've watched Atalanta this season, but if you've watched Atalanta, or you've watched, Gianluca Scamacca before, or if you've watched Rasmus Hojlund this season at Man United, if you've just seen, him play at Man United, not the goals, but the way he plays as a centre forward, I think that is where Gyökeres would have been a great fit. And that is where Gyökeres is better than Ben Cesco, because Cesco will spin in behind. He does that very well. He will also receive the ball, and will be that kind of board. You pump it long, he receives it, and he passes it on to the likes of Odegaard. But when it comes to power, energy, and strength and physicality, that would be a perfect role for Victor Gyökeres. So if I was to compare them in terms of scoring goals, I think him and Alexander Isak have not really convinced me yet to the levels of wow, just do it, right? Why I think Isak is top talent is because of his ability and technical ability and ability to play in other areas. Goal scoring, Lautaro Martinez and Victor Gyökeres are better than Ben Cesco, and I would take them over Ben Cesco if I was just looking at the goals, right? But in terms of the profile, young, not expensive, he's going to be a backup, obviously. I think it ticks all the boxes and, all the reasons why Arsenal are going for that kind of profile in this summer. Now, Sami Makpo said that Arsenal are not expecting to have a superstar signing this summer, because we're going to spread out our money across the shop, and you expect Arsenal to hugely and really strengthen without signing one big superstar. And that got me questioning and asking questions like, when did Arsenal really have a model where we have been signing a superstar every single summer? I don't think Arsenal need a superstar signing this summer. I mean, if you consider Guimaraes a superstar, then we need a superstar. But at the moment, I'm not really sure Arsenal are desperate for a superstar. I don't think Arsenal are desperate for a Kylian Mbappe. I think what Arsenal need is numbers and quality in those numbers. That is what we are looking for. Strength in numbers. So picture this. You bring in a player like Martin Zubimendi and Partey stays. That is 100 times better than bringing in a new midfielder and getting rid of Thomas Partey, because you've kept the quality that you had, but you also added quality and numbers. You bring in Benjamin Sesko. Sesko is coming in to add on to the number of goals that you couldn't get from Edin Ketia and you couldn't get from Gabriel Jesus. But also listen to this. Ben Sesko coming to join Arsenal means that Mikel Arteta will have a number 9 on the bench that he trusts. We have seen so many times when Arsenal needed a goal and Edin Ketia couldn't come on because the manager doesn't trust him. And I really back the manager and I support the manager for not trusting Edin Ketia. So for me, we just need players to come in that the manager can trust. We just need players to come in that can give manager selection headache. Doesn't have to be a superstar. Yes, Declan Rice was a superstar. Yes, Guimaraes maybe could be a superstar or Isaac. But Arsenal are not looking for the superstar status right now. We are looking at players with real quality. That is whether the quality is appreciated by the media or not, right? Because what makes you a superstar is the media, hyping you over other players. Jude Bellingham over Cole Palmer. It's as simple as that. That's a very, very perfect explanation or comparison. Phil Foden over Cole Palmer. Phil Foden over Bukayo Saka. So when you think about what a superstar is, I don't think Arsenal need a superstar. I don't think it should be what the media want Arsenal to do. It should be what Arsenal need to do and what we see fit to do. And for me, this summer, I'm okay with 4 signings without a 90 million signing, without an 80 million pound signing, as long as those signings are in line with the project and they're pushing us over the line, especially pushing us to get 90 points. I want Arsenal to get 90 points plus for the next 3 seasons, because that will guarantee that Arsenal will be champions for the next 3 seasons. As simple as that. Hit the like button, please do subscribe, guys. We are running to 90,000. We are running to 80,000 first. We are 2,000 subscribers away from 80,000 subscribers and then the big 90. So please do hit that subscribe button. Let's get there. See you soon.